What's up, everybody? Welcome back. So ever since 2018, when Doom Eternal was announced for the PS4, Xbox One, PC, and for Nintendo Switch, fans have long and eagerly awaited this game's release. So Bethesda debuted an all-new trailer yesterday showing a lot of new story elements and more extremely polished and smooth gameplay, along with that nice id Source engine that looks better than ever and crisp and smooth as ever graphically. Now, Nintendo Switch owners are aware that the Switch version of the game has been delayed to an unknown date. This is true, however, some fans still express concern about what has happened to the Switch version of Doom Eternal since there was no Switch logo or box art displayed at the end of the trailer. Now keep in mind that this wasn't a launch trailer for Doom Eternal. This was just a new trailer showing new elements of the game, and while it did show the release date at the end of the trailer as still being March 20th, 2020, it wasn't the kind of trailer you would see when a game is about to launch. Usually those are called quote-unquote launch trailers, and they have review accolades hyping the game up, so when the game hits retail, usually a few days later, fans will be hyped to buy it. So it wasn't that type of trailer, it was simply a new trailer. So you would think it would still show the Switch logo at the end, right? But it was definitely missing and taken out in this trailer. So some fans on Twitter did wonder, even though the game is delayed, if the Switch version of Doom Eternal is actually okay at this point, since we've heard no updates on the port for many months. So the question is, do Switch owners need to be worried about this game coming out? Or is there something else going on? So I did some deeper investigating into what has happened with Doom Eternal on Switch, and from what it appears, it may actually be something Nintendo fans can be excited for. It looks like Nintendo is positioning Doom Eternal to be a new, more powerful Switch launch game, and we're going to go over the multiple lines of evidence of this here. So originally, Doom Eternal was announced at E3 2018 and confirmed coming to the Switch, with Panic Button porting the game. Then in August 2018, the executive producer of Doom Eternal talked about what fans should expect from the game on the Switch in an interview with Eurogamer, and here are some of the key points of that interview. Will the game launch on Switch at the same time as PC, PS4, and Xbox One? And the executive producer of Doom Eternal, Marty Stratton, said, "That's the plan right now, we'll see. We're still a way away from launching, but we have made the decision to make Switch what we call internally, a first-class citizen." And then Eurogamer asked, "So you're developing it internally?" And Marty said, "No, we're actually working with Panic Button again, but before, we made the game and then we brought it to Switch. And now we are making the game with Switch in mind. It's nice to know the platforms we want to hit up front." And then they go on to ask, "Graphically, it sounds like you're doing even more with Doom Eternal, but you said it will run at 60 frames per second. On Switch as well?" And Marty says, "We don't run at 60 frames per second on Switch. Doom 2016 didn't run at 60 FPS on Switch, it ran at 30 FPS. And really, it was no sacrifice to experience." And then they went on to ask, "But on all other platforms, it will run at 60. And he says, "Yeah, that's always the goal. The engine has an interesting way of flexing. It flexes at around 60 frames per second. Sometimes game engines flex around other metrics, but for us, we try to set the line at always trying to maintain 60. So id Software planned from the beginning upon announcement in 2018 to have the Switch in mind during development of Doom Eternal, and confirmed it was being made at the same time as the other versions. And on top of that, they plainly said that this wasn't, I repeat, wasn't a port for the Switch. Now, very interestingly enough, 3 months later, in October 2018, the Wall Street Journal reported that Nintendo was looking into upgrading the Nintendo Switch for a possible release as soon as the second half of 2019, and that Nintendo was looking into upgrading the display, which was again reported on, of course, about 10 months later in August 2019, that Nintendo secured that deal with Sharp for the Exo displays to upgrade the Switch hardware to make the, and I quote, platform's life cycle long. And during all of 2019, we found countless new pieces of information that not only confirmed Nintendo's making a new Switch with custom chips, but also that mass production was right around the corner from around the October timeframe in 2019 onwards. But there was in July 2019 an interview with Panic Button right in the middle of all these new Switch hardware rumors while information was being found and discussed. And while we cover this very briefly at the end of one of my videos, it now brings more insight to the table with the other information. GameRevolution.com was interviewing Panic Button about various things with the porting process and even things about the Switch Lite, and then they said this: "I was hoping Nintendo would announce a Switch Pro. That would be cool." And then the answer from Panic Button at that time, remember this was back in July 2019, was no comment. You're welcome to speculate. I'll just drink my coffee. And that was coming from Dan Hernberg, head of production at Panic Button. So here we have Panic Button blatantly giving a no comment answer there and actually encouraged speculation on a Switch Pro or more powerful Switch model coming. Now, going back to when we reported on this channel on October 7th, 2019 that Nintendo was entering the final stages of OS software debugging for this new Switch hardware, the day after that, on October 8th, 2019, id Software announced that not only was Doom Eternal delayed until March 20th, 2020 from its original 2019 release date, but also that the Switch version would come sometime later. And here's exactly what they said. Doom Eternal for Nintendo Switch will release after the other platforms. We will announce that date in the future, they said. So the question at that time from that point forward was, well, what's the problem here? The executive producer of Doom Eternal back in August 2018, an entire year before that, confirmed Switch was being made at the same time and not a port. So the game should have been released at the same time as the other versions. And if the game was being delayed along with the other versions, a month or time frame of release should have been given for the Switch version of the game, but it wasn't. So the question is, why? Why has there been silence and literally no more updates on the Switch version of Doom Eternal and not even a release timing window? Well, now that we have reports of a new more powerful Switch model starting production possibly at the end of Q1 2020, which would be right after the release of Doom Eternal on the other platforms on March 20th, 2020, and with them saying the target launch date of this new Switch is summer 2020, the silence and timing makes perfect sense now. Nintendo has likely informed Bethesda and id Software of their plans to release this new Switch at the midpoint of 2020, and to maximize sales of Doom Eternal for the Switch platform, they want to launch the new Switch with Doom Eternal coming out around the same time, highlighting, I think we can safely assume, better graphics and probably 60 frames per second, which would also in turn be Panic Button's shining new achievement with Nintendo hardware. Also, since Bethesda removed completely the Switch logo and box art from the new trailer, it also makes sense that they will wait until Nintendo publicly announces the new Switch hardware and the final name of it so that they can add both the Switch OG and new Switch logos to their advertising of Doom Eternal. My guess is that we'll see first gameplay footage for Doom Eternal running on Nintendo hardware when they reveal the new Switch at a future digital event for the revealing of the console. So at this point, after looking deeply into all the information and the fact that Bethesda said that the Switch version of Doom Eternal wasn't a port, but was being made at the same time as all versions, and the recent absence of the game with removal of a release date or timing of a release, everything points to them simply waiting to show Doom Eternal in its best possible light on Nintendo hardware, coming on the new, more powerful Switch to launch this year in 2020 after production will reportedly start in Q1 of this year. So for now, I wouldn't worry too much about Doom Eternal on the Switch platform and just wait for when Nintendo reveals the new Switch soon, because it's looking extremely likely we'll see the game at that time, which of course will be really exciting. Alright guys, that will do it for this video. Let me know what you think about all this in the comment section. Do you think Nintendo's waiting to let Panic Button flex their muscles and show off Doom Eternal for the new Switch in 2020? Let me know below. And if you did enjoy this video, please hit the like button and subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you very soon in the next video. Have a great day.